Hooker is the headliner, 5 rounds scheduled. So what do you think about this?
Well, I think clearly it's going to be a stand-up fight.
Yeah.
These are both strikers. As you mentioned off air, Dan Hooker is a kickboxer by trade. Dustin Poirier is a very slick boxer. I think Dustin Poirier's got really, really fantastic boxing, really underrated boxing. So it's a stand-up fight. So who's the better striker in this fight? And to me, the answer is very clearly Dustin Poirier. And the reason I say that is because if we look at one of Dustin Poirier's recent fights against Gaethje, we saw just how good his boxing was. I mean, Gaethje, I know, is increasingly technical and he's an excellent striker, but you saw the difference there between an MMA brawler and a slick technical boxer in Dustin Poirier. And although Gaethje gave Poirier some problems, you could see the difference in skill there on the feet.
Yeah.
So I've got to give it to Dustin Poirier here.
Yeah, in the stand-up department, definitely, I agree with that. The one thing that does stand out to me in terms of the stand-up is Hooker's obvious height and reach advantage. I think his reach advantage is about 2.5 or 3 inches. Not that much. His height advantage is 3 inches. He does have that kickboxing background, as you said, but the problem with as we know with kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters is sometimes their heads are a bit stagnant, and they don't have the head movement of a boxer. And I think that's where Poirier can really exploit, gaps in Hooker's striking. So I agree with you there. I think his striking is definitely better.
Just on that point about being a kickboxer. I mean, Muay Thai is great. It's an incredibly dangerous martial art. But in MMA, its actual application is relatively limited.
Yeah.
For the simple reason that when you're doing Muay Thai or kickboxing, you don't have much head movement. You basically, when you get hit, you cover up and you stand where you are, or you take a step back. There's no lateral movement. There's no footwork. So what I see happening in this fight is Dustin Poirier is going to land something, and Dan Hooker is going to move back and he's going to be on the back foot. And of course, you can't fight from the back foot. And Dustin Poirier is going to land some heavy shots and end this probably relatively quickly. And I think we're going to see that. I think Dan Hooker is going to look a bit simplistic in the striking department. And, he's excellent going forward. And he's got these beautiful knees up the middle. But, in MMA, you put a Muay Thai guy against a slick boxer, the dynamic favors the boxer every time, I think.
Yeah, and add to that, Dustin Poirier being a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and Hooker being a blue belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think, even if it does go to the ground, may go to the ground, you never know, it's MMA, anything's possible. I doubt very much that Hooker can submit Dustin, but I think Dustin could submit Hooker. He does have a very nasty Darce choke. Hooker has got some submissions on his record, but I think Dustin's too much of a high-level BJJ fighter for him to get submitted by Hooker.
Yeah, and Dustin always has the option of the takedown,
Yeah, because obviously Hooker's going to be on the back foot, preoccupied with Dustin's hands, and, potentially Dustin could go in for a single or double leg quite easily.
I think
get him down on the ground.
Dan Hooker, just like all kickboxers, they're very tall. They stand on the back, they're very tall, which makes them very easy to take down. So that's another weapon in Dustin Poirier's arsenal, I think.
Yeah.
So I think this is as easy a bet as it gets, to be honest. When you look at the striking and how they match up on the feet, I think we've got to give this to Dustin Poirier, like 80% of the time.
Okay, I'm gonna say something here, just like Chris Eubank Senior says. I'm gonna add a little bit of spice to this.
Okay.
What do you think in terms of the psychological edge now? Because Hooker's on a 3-fight win streak, and Poirier had a devastating loss to Khabib, and even considered retiring after that fight. Do you think Dustin's recovered from that fully?
There's a lot to be said for momentum. Momentum in fighting sports is real. because if you're in a positive psychological state, you're confident, that accounts for a lot. So, I mean, Dustin Poirier lost to one of the best fighters in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that.
The best, or top
Yes.
3 definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and potential greatest of all time contender.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any shame in that. I think he was talking about retiring basically because he's in that weird position where you lose a championship fight. So who do you fight after that? You're in this weird spot where you kind of want to get back into contention, but you have to fight a whole load of relative unknowns. I mean, they're not unknowns, but you know what I mean, to try and climb your way back for a lot less money. I think maybe that was why he was saying he wanted to retire.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was crying and stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get your opinion on that. I think overall he's a very, very experienced guy, one of the most experienced guys in the UFC. I mean, how many fights has he had in the UFC? It's over 20 now, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot.
Something ridiculous. So I think he's been here before. He's lost before. He's come back. He's become the interim champion. I think he can recover mentally. Just wanted to get your opinion on that because, you know, as you said, momentum is a huge factor in MMA, in all combat sports, in any sport really, in life in general. But yeah, I mean, I think overall,
to your point, yeah, I think Dan Hooker will be confident. He's also extremely tough.
Very tough.
He might be difficult to put away. He's a proper tough bastard.
Yeah. So, last time we put him away was Edson Barbosa, and he was eating some really heavy leg kicks and body kicks.
Yeah. And yeah, Barbosa only got him away with that left hook to the liver, and nobody survives that. If you get shot in the liver, you're going down. Doesn't matter how tough you are. That's the end of the fight.
Yeah, and he proved against Felder, who's also very tough. Yeah, no, he's a savage, definitely. But I think overall, to conclude, I think Poirier is just too technical for him. Too technical, too experienced. He's fought better people. He's a former interim champion, and there's not much difference in age. I think it's 1 year. You know, having said that,
one thing. Sorry to interrupt, but he has had hip surgery, I believe. In between the Khabib fight and now, he's had surgery, and I assume it's because of his bad hip. I don't know if you've ever watched him walk, or the way he even moves in the cage. He moves very awkwardly, and that's because he's got a bad hip. I think it's the same issue that Ben Askren had. So he's had surgery on that, so that is a variable to maybe think about. I don't know whether it's going to help him or hinder him. I don't know. But something to think.
I didn't know that. But but overall, thinking Poirier.
I'm saying Poirier 80% of the time. I'm putting him on my accumulator. I'm pretty confident in Poirier.
Fair enough. What by finish?
I'm going to say Poirier TKO round 3.
Round 3. There you go. There you go, guys. You've got it. I'm going to say Poirier to win. Yeah, via TKO. I think round 4.
Round 4. Okay.
I think it'll go to 4 rounds, but we'll see. That's the main headliner. That's the big one. Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah. So we've got our favourite idiot in MMA, Mike, the Nigerian Nightmare Perry, versus
the real Nigerian. John Jones is 42% Nigerian, apparently. But guess what, guys? Perry is 101% Nigerian. So he wins in that department.
Actually,
yeah,
he's fighting Mickey Gall.
He's a character. Let's put it that way.
He is.
He is. And
I've got to share that photo, Wally. Just 1 second.
Yeah. Put that photo up. That'd be good.
There we go. Right there.
So this
right
guy
there.
is apparently are these recent injuries that Mike Perry has somehow sustained, possibly in a bar fight somewhere?
I think that's what Mike Perry wants us to believe. But I think Dana White in the press conference for the last UFC fight said that it's an old photo. So I'm
Oh, is it?
assuming like you can't be street fighting like this and taking this kind of damage and messing up your hands a week out
Yeah,
before a fight.
yeah. Maybe he's just playing with our minds. Good
I mean,
old Mike.
that's pretty bad there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
he's definitely been fighting somebody.
Yeah, he's definitely had a fight there. He's hit something, or he's lashed out and he's hit a wall or a cupboard or something. I don't know. But you can never know with Perry, and that's why we love him. He's a very, very unusual character. But I think it's good we have characters in the UFC and in MMA and Bellator and other sports as such. Um, the obvious thing to say in terms of Perry at the moment is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. Does he have a camp? Does he
Oh
have
no,
people fighting him?
he hasn't
Or
even. Forget a camp. He doesn't even have a coach.
he doesn't even have a coach.
Collection. He has a coach, but it's his new girlfriend.
It's his
So, so he's gone and done a Diego Sanchez, and just found some
okay,
random person with no experience in MMA telling him how to fight.
which
So
is not good.
yeah,
Yeah, for everyone
so
watching out there, that is not good. And if you're a new MMA fan, we welcome you. It's the fastest growing sport on earth, but you definitely need coaches in your corner to be successful in this sport. So
bear in mind this
that
guy was training at
worries me.
Jackson Wink.
Sorry?
This guy was training at Jackson Wink with John Jones and a bunch of
Yeah,
other killers,
yeah,
and he's given
exactly.
that up
Yeah.
in favor of his new girlfriend, who is like, I don't know, a yoga instructor or something.
Jackson Wink is based in Albuquerque. Maybe he was just bored, didn't have nothing to do. Well, we do know that Mike Perry likes to drink and go out and have a dance. So
Well, you could do that with John Jones. They'd have a
yeah,
great time.
yeah, exactly. You could have done all sorts with John Jones, archery, shooting guns, whatever you want. But yeah, I mean, I think he's got KO power. He's KO'd a few guys in the UFC. Um, he hits hard. But I mean, I think everything that's going on at the moment, no coaches, his lack of focus, I'm really don't see how he can win this fight apart from the one punch knockout power he has.
That's interesting. I see Mike Perry as a gatekeeper. He's unranked. I don't think he'll ever be ranked, but he can beat newcomers. I think he can beat more inexperienced guys.
Yeah,
Basically because he's got decent boxing and he's got real power and he's very strong.
yeah.
He's a straightforward fighter. He's been working on his grappling. You may remember that Donald Cerrone not that long ago submitted him really quite quickly, and his grappling, his ground game looked pretty rudimentary. Since then, he's been working on his grappling. He actually entered into a tournament against Ally Quinta, a grappling tournament with Ally Quinta, and won. I did actually see that tournament, that fight, and I wouldn't have given it to Mike Perry. I think it was some kind of weird rule set or something where the judges scored it in a strange way. But the fact is his grappling is looking better and better. So he's maybe looking a bit more like a more well-rounded fighter these days. But I
Yeah,
think the issue here is not about Mike Perry. I think the issue is with Mickey Gall's inexperience.
yeah.
Mickey Gall just isn't very good. Have you seen who Mickey Gall has fought?
Well,
Like he's
he's
5-0.
how many times has he fought in the UFC?
I think he's got 5 fights in the UFC. Let me look this up quickly.
5 fights in the UFC. What, at 6-2? That's strange.
Yeah, I think he's 3-2 in the UFC. Let me check this. Yeah, so he's got a record of 6-2. Here he is.
Yeah.
And just look at who he's fought, Walid. So he's fought Salim Tuahari. He won that. That's an okay win. He lost to Diego Sanchez. He got battered by Diego Sanchez, who was a lot smaller than him.
Okay, CM Punk including.
But if you look at some of these CM Punk, right?
Yeah, we're not including that.
That's not a good win. CM Punk is not a fighter.
Yeah,
Mike
exactly.
Jackson, who has won one fight in MMA, also against CM Punk. So he doesn't have big wins here. he's just very, very inexperienced. Now he's got a decent ground game, like he's a decent
he's a
jiu-jitsu
black
guy.
belt at BJJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a black belt.
Like he's 6'2", and he's reasonably well built.
Yeah.
But his striking sucks. Like really, it sucks. So
Well, I mean, if his striking is that bad, then it could be a potential Perry KO, because Perry does have serious power, and as you said, his boxing's actually decent. He's knocked quite a few people out in the UFC. I mean, not top of the notch fighters, but mid rank, whatever. Not rank, sorry, but like top 30, top 40 guys. He's knocked quite a few out.
Yeah.
So you've kind of swayed me. I was thinking Gall, but now I think Perry might KO him. I'm going to go with a Perry KO. I know he hasn't got a camp and he hasn't got people in his corner, but I think he knows enough to KO someone like Gall. He's got good enough striking to do that, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, basically. Yeah, notwithstanding the fact that his coach is now his girlfriend, you know.
But
I think
for a fighter like this, sorry to interrupt, but for a fighter like this, it could be argued that he probably really doesn't need that much coaching for this guy. I mean, he knows how to strike, he knows how to box, he's got naturally gifted one punch KO power. What does he really need to do? His main intention is going to be going in there and taking the guy's head off, which, you know, by the looks of it, he can do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict Mike Perry knockout round 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that too.
Mike Perry in my accumulator, along with Dustin Poirier.
Yeah. Okay, we got it. Should we move on to the next one?
Cool. Yeah. Who have we got next, Waleed?
We have got Alan v. Daukaus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kyle Daukaus. He's a debutant from the CFFC regional circuit in the United States. He's 9-0, and he's fighting Alan, who's he's a pretty legit fighter. Five fight win streak. 4 wins by KO, 8 wins by submission. I mean, he's pretty experienced. It's not someone you want to go up against as a debutant, in my opinion.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Brendan Allen, well, this is what this will be his 3rd UFC fight, or 4th if including the Contender Series fight.
Yeah.
So he's not massively experienced, but certainly a lot more experienced than Kyle Daukaus.
Yeah, but also
to me it seems like. Sorry, go on, Waleed.
I was just going to say that from what I know, and I may be wrong here, and if any of our viewers in America can maybe add some commentary to this, please do so. From what I know, the LFA is considered more highly than the CFFC, which is the organization that Daukaus has come from. So I believe that overall Alan has faced a lot better opposition throughout his career. He's been on the Contender Series, he's been on the UFC, and from what I know, the LFA is better than the CFFC in terms of the quality of the fighters.
Yeah, it seems to me with the quarantine and the travel bans that the UFC are trying to make fights at any cost, and there's some mismatches going on here. And
well, particularly in the US, yeah, because people can't fly in. Yeah,
so they're getting
I think
younger fighters who, shouldn't necessarily be there under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I think this is a big mismatch. I don't see how Daukaus can win this, to be honest. And I've seen some footage of Alan as well. He's got good striking. He's good in the ground. He's a well-rounded fighter, experienced. I think he will win.
Seems to be the slightly bigger man as well. Not that I know too much about these fighters at all, but Brendan Allen
pretty much the
He
same
looks a bit
height.
bigger.
I believe they're pretty much the same height. But yeah, he looks stockier in that
Yeah.
image there. But then Daukaus has got a shirt on, so you can't really tell. T-shirt on. But yeah, I think Allen will beat him. I think
Yeah,
it's
Brendan Allen's got a win over Kevin Holland, which is quite decent.
sorry.
Brendan Allen's got a win over Kevin Holland,
Yeah,
which is quite a decent one to have.
yeah.
Other than that, I don't know much about these guys, but just on paper, it looks like a pretty big mismatch.
Yeah.
So, what's your prediction for this one, Walid?
I think Allen will submit him within the 3 rounds. Not sure about which round, but I'll go with round 2. Round
Okay.
2.
Brendan Allen, submission victory, round 2.
Round 2, yeah.
Okay. So the next fight we've got is Luis Pena versus Khama Worthy. I like this fight. What do you think of this one?
What do we think of this one? Well, I think a lot of people know that Pena is extremely tall, 191 centimeters, 6'3", which can be a problem in that weight division for any opponent. He's also got very, very good wrestling. He used to be part of AKA, and he used to train with Khabib and all of the other Dagestani killers, Russian killers that used to train at AKA. I believe he's recently moved gym, but I may be wrong about that. So yeah, I mean, he hasn't been knocked out. He's got very good wrestling. He's got a good ground game. His striking's decent. He's very tall. He's quite skinny. Worthy, from what I know, had a very spectacular one-punch KO in the UFC. I think last year it was.
Yeah, against Devontae Smith. That was a beautiful knockout, first round knockout.
Yeah.
Counter right hand.
Very quick, very quick.
Counter left hook, I think, just as Devontae Smith was coming in. That was really, really nice.
Very.
Yeah, right.
That was his only fight in the UFC, I believe, or maybe you want to check.
Yeah, that was his only fight, I think. I think he's on the Contender Series, so he's got a fight there.
Okay.
But he's pretty old coming to the UFC. How old is he? He is 33. And yeah, this will be his second fight in the UFC. But look at this, Walid. Let's look at his losses, right? KO loss here, round 1.
Yeah.
KO loss here, round 1. Loss punches, which is probably TKO, round 2.
So he hasn't got the best pin. I don't think Pena is a particularly hard hitter though. I think he's someone that normally grinds people out and gets decisions. This is an interesting one.
My problem with Luis Pena, when you're 6'3" in the lightweight division, and you've got that kind of reach, you need to be throwing volume from the outside. Yeah, because you're never going to get a knockout, so you're going for the decision. That means you need to throw volume. He doesn't do that. He's actually got a negative. I think he's got a negative striking differential, so he gets hit more than he actually hits other people, which shouldn't be the case when you've got that kind of reach. You should be teeing off on these people from a distance. Constant jab, 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 high kick. So that worries me a little bit. But then he does have excellent grappling. He's got a solid base in wrestling, which he uses to great effect. In his last fight against Steve Garcia, he basically grapple-fucked him for 15 straight minutes.
Yeah.
And he looked really, really great.
This is what I think he could do to Worthy. I think he could grind out a decision against this guy. But obviously, Worthy has got that one-punch explosive KO power. It's
that's the variable, yeah.
How's Worthy on the ground in terms of grappling, in terms of jiu-jitsu? Do we
I don't
know
think
much?
I've ever seen him on the ground. I mean, all of his wins are either strikes. Actually, he's got one rear naked choke victory back in the day when he was in the regional circuit.
Okay,
But
so
he's
it's
basically a stand-up
essentially
fighter.
Pena's got no BJJ to worry about on the ground. So if he gets him down,
Yeah,
yeah.
correct.
Yeah, this is a tough one because, as you said, Pena's got a negative striking differential. This guy's got one punch KO power. Pena's what, 3-4 inches taller than him.
Yeah, Khama Worthy's 5'11".
Yeah, I still think
Yeah,
Pena will probably play safe and just grind it out against this guy.
yeah.
Get him down, grapple fuck him for 3
Yeah,
rounds, get a decision. That's what I think.
I've got to give a correction here. The striking differential isn't negative for Luis Pena. It's 3.3 to 2.5. But still, it's got to be higher if you've got that kind of reach advantage. It just means that he's not using his reach as well as he should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Maybe
agree
that's
with you.
because
So,
AKA is. I said maybe that's possibly why he's moved. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he moved camp recently to, I believe it was ATT. I may be wrong about that, but I believe that he has moved from AKA, and maybe he's moved to focus more on his striking. I mean, he's got the ground game already, and your AKA is notoriously a ground game gym. So
despite the name, despite being called
exactly.
Academy.
Yeah, you'd think it'll be the other way around, but it's mainly wrestlers and sambo masters over there. High level
but
BJJ
I
guys.
agree with you. I agree with you. I think Luis Pena is just going to grapple him quite possibly for the whole 15 minutes. And I think it's going to be an easy victory, to be honest. There's always that variable of Khama Worthy with that explosive power knocking him out.
Yeah.
But 80% of the time, I think Luis Pena wins this.
Yeah, same here. I think Luis Pena will get a decision, grind it out, get him, get his back. Possibly, I don't know, maybe even submit him. I don't think so, though. I think he's more likely to grapple fuck him over the 3 rounds, get a decision win. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I agree. So decision win for Luis Pena, we agreed on that.
Luis
and that's
Pena.
it for our fight analysis, our fight picks.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our picks for this card, UFC Apex 28th of June. We've got Dustin Poirier. We've got Allen, Perry, and Pena.